Okay, that was season 1, episode 3 of Steins Gate. I love this show. I like it.
I do too.
It's a lot.
I know. I feel like I don't want to leave the world because I feel like I'm slowly getting integrated into understanding what everything means, and then we're also getting accustomed to recognizing that information gets flashed in 0.2 seconds of a frame, and then you can only see it really if you stopped the episode and checked out what it said.
Yeah. Error. Human is dead. Mismatch. Jellyman.
Jellyman. I was about to say Jellyman.
Who is Jellyman?
Who is Jellyman?
I need to know about Jellyman. Is he similar to Alpaca Man? What's the, I don't know. I don't know if we get the rest of the report in a clearer frame because of how quick they were going. Mm-hmm. But mismatch, I feel like, is a decent amount of information in of itself, Mm-hmm. Any thoughts on what that means?
Just the whole language is really interesting. Why use the term human? Human is dead. You're not supposed to... Are we supposed to be under the impression that one singular insignificant human is dead? Humanity is dead? Human in reference,
mismatch
you're not human and you're writing about humans?
What do you mean by mismatch? Do you need somebody specific? Do you need somebody who is Maori, perhaps, or Ocarine, and they're different for some reason?
Right, if Ocarine, so we learned in the episode the idea of the possibility that someone could retain the memories of the different world lines being affected. If you died in one of your world lines, would you have memory of your own death? Therefore, you could make sure it didn't happen?
I don't know.
If Ocarine had the possibility of his own death?
Yeah. I definitely see a meeting with him and John coming up, though, after that. It was a good catch that his voice actor was the one talking, so we could discern that it was him typing. And then you get the idea that, he is special, Ocarine, and that will probably
and that they
lead
aren't
to
the
a meeting.
same person. Which I was, thinking maybe they were.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to meet yourself, or, it could be a meeting with yourself. But wouldn't John Titor know the other aliases that he would use if he was Kiyoma?
Perhaps. Maybe. What do you think about the actual instance of with Kurisu about the big explosion, I guess? That was crazy.
My main focus of that whole interaction was, weirdly enough, just the reasons and trying to think of the emotions and reasons for her running away after. So we should probably just talk about the actual before she ran away.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the main things that I was focused on after the fact, was trying to figure out the emotional reasons for why running away.
Yeah. When it happened, okay, so this episode did a lot to make me less suspicious of Maori. You know what I mean? But within that, my suspicion of her for the first 2 episodes had one little thing to latch on to, and that was her interruption of the process they were going to do right here. Because she opened the microwave up, which caused the explosion. And I know that was just because she's silly and, made a mistake.
I know, they've created a very kind of innocent character with her, possibly not a very bright character. Obviously you're not going to open the microwave. She would know that they're doing an experiment. Why would she go and open the microwave, unless she had an ulterior motive reason, or they're painting her as a character that's not very bright.
Yeah. In the actual episode, I thought that we got to see Upa being disappeared, but it's actually just a light bulb exploding, I think. So I'm like, God.
You thought it was going to fit and parallel the first episode.
Suzuha is one of my favorite characters.
What was up with that conversation?
The whole, did you get a message that somebody died? My first intuition or inkling was Kurisu and the whole message from there. But by the end of the episode, I'm like, okay, was she too soon if she is from the future? And she was alluding to the message that was read about a human dying at the end of the episode.
Right.
I don't know. She's a really interesting character.
She's like, I'm bored. I spied on you guys. That's how I overheard all this stuff. And she can pass all that off because she has gotten a job, where he even says to the owner, Mr. Braun, he was like, did you really need to hire someone? You don't have enough business.
Yeah.
So it makes you kind of think as a viewer, did this character wiggle her way into working there on purpose because it's in close proximity to the lab, and she can use the fact that since she's in close proximity, oh, I overheard this stuff, I was spying on you guys, and not that she previously knew any of it?
Yeah, maybe. I wanted to get also the information about like the whole World War III thing that happened. But before we get there,
flipped so quickly.
Yeah, before we get there though, Karisu, why do you think she ran away?
So, one of my takes was she is painted as a very confident intellectual, probably put down a lot, and she kind of presents herself in a manner that like I can compete. I can compete in wit. I can compete in words. Like, she's very quick back to Daru and Kyomo in this, like, pervert conversation.
Yeah.
And she's very, like, I can hang with you guys. Like, I can be a part of this. Like, and she's very confident in this manner. So I thought that maybe possibly facing the fact that something she so confidently believed and even lectured people on to be possibly false and that she's wrong.
Yeah.
She could have run away because she couldn't comprehend that, or it was too crazy to her to be put in front of this idea of you're wrong, basically in big letters, like you were wrong about this.
Yeah.
There could be some like self-doubt with that whole thing.
Could be like she's like locked away trying to rework all of her studies and work and her theories.
She could have run away in order to figure out where she went wrong.
Yeah.
When because obviously we saw that board after she was lecturing back and forth to Kyomo. We got the picture of the board where she had obviously drawn out all of this reasoning for her saying that it's impossible.
Yeah.
And that's a great point to bring up, that maybe she went back to her own room or her own lab in order to figure out where she went wrong with her own guesses.
Yeah. At one point, I was like, because of how we don't know anything and we're just trying to make guesses, I was like, is there any way Suzuha is Ruka, like, in the future or something? You know what I mean? Like, because we've already had the idea of
I think Ruka's eyes were like a gray-brown.
Gotcha, okay. Suzuha's eyes are crazy, too. But
they're like a light brown yellow color.
Yeah. But the information that we got here that went by quick. In 2015, World War III occurs.
When did this show come out?
In 2036, Earth is polluted by nuclear warfare. I've time traveled from 2036 to get an IBM 5100. The IBM 5100 has a hidden function. Only a few IBM engineers know this. And that kind of puts what's her name in a unique situation. Moeka, the girl on the street who was texting, because she mentioned the IBN as well a bunch, and she was the one with the pictures. So I wonder if she, probably from the future, but also could be an engineer of sorts.
The proximity of some of these really terrible things happening. I'm pretty sure when we get in the first episode the dates and times, we also got the year that it currently was, which I believe was either 2007, 2010. I think it might have been 2007. And then if he's saying that World War III happens 2015, like, and then we're getting 2036 is another big date. So we're getting all these dates that are, in actuality, not too far in the future.
Yeah.
That you're trying to, and so that's why when they're like hacking and they're like, wow, wait, when they say that they put out in the public that we haven't figured out the mini black hole, like we haven't done that. But then do we really believe that?
Yeah.
If a World War III is happening in 2015 and then in 2036, basically destruction.
What caused it,
It does make them think maybe they actually have figured it out.
We got an emphasis on the like mixing German with Japanese from Okarin's dialect, which is probably why he like says hacker the wrong way. Probably, right?
Yeah. And then we get that, I don't know if this has any importance, but obviously John Titor in one timeline, one world line, wrote books in America.
Yeah.
Appeared in America. Kurisu just recently came from America and is going to be returning in August. I don't know if that has if it means anything other than just she's a top scientist, a top brain, and so she travels a lot.
Could be John appears in a specific place for a reason, wherever Kurisu potentially isn't. Maybe Kurisu works for this company or something at CERN somehow, you know?
Is CERN the one that stabs her?
Maybe. I don't know. I think it is interesting, though. I would love to know why John didn't go back to 2000 this time, because he said I wish I could have, or something like I'm, not quoting exact words here, I'm paraphrasing, but I wonder if, he even had a choice where he got to end up, or just said,
interesting.
Put me somewhere in the past.
What if you can't actually completely dictate
the
when exactly, the details of when you travel back? Maybe you can pick a general idea, but not specifics.
Maybe he couldn't because he was doing it in a hurry or was doing it in a way that wasn't how this top company who has the monopoly over it would do it,
Or maybe this John Titor, maybe there's some time in his path of his timeline of his life where he was able to figure things out sooner and went. And then when now it's 2007 and he's not very big and he's still messaging on message boards.
Yeah.
So maybe there was a point in his world line that it diverged where he was able to figure out time travel and went to 2000 and then one where he's still figuring it out.
This show is really got me so into it a few episodes in. It's kind of crazy.
I think you like to be able to be challenged to think about things. I mean, I like it as well.
I like having details in shows. I like when being aware of details pays off.
It pays off to pay attention. I mean,
yeah.
It also pays off, it seems, to after you're done with the show, look for all the little tiny times the cuts, and then actually read what messages flash it, because they're so quick. I don't understand exactly why the timing of translations are so quick. Or do they want us to have to go back and reread it?
I guarantee you we would be a lot more perceptive or catch a lot more visual cues if this was the dub. And in my personal experience, I'm really glad that we're watching the sub. Of course, I'd love to watch the dub afterwards just for my own curiosity. But we'd be given more time to notice on-screen things if we weren't also trying to spend 3 seconds reading the dialogue given as well. True. Right? But I don't know, man. I assume that the thing that we got, the little frame that we got of Maori and Ocarine when the grocery bag was being switched off last episode, I assume that that's a frame from the apocalyptic world in the future.
I'm going to assume that too.
Yeah.
After World War III, sometime after that in the future, everything's been destroyed.
So the time thing did work at first, right? The phone?
It did work.
And their first attempt, right?
Well, now, once this all happened and everything broke after this first attempt, he can't get it to work again.
Gotcha.
I think he had to rebuild some things, possibly, and now he can't get it to work.
Interesting. Do you think that there's anything weird about Maori? Or do you think, I'm reaching in that sense?
At the moment, I think anything's fair game to speculate that a character might know more than what they let on to know.
Yeah.
We could just be, being completely shown her actual personality, and she's maybe the perfect example of what we learned, I think, in this episode about how people's memories are basically switched once something is changed on the world line.
Yeah.
And she could be kind of our honest, innocent example of seeing that.
Yeah. So interesting.
Because she doesn't seem like a liar. So if he asked her a question did we go to the radio building? And she says, no, we didn't do that today. It's she's our example of what could have been switched and what the general public believes is the truth.
Maybe it's not an extra weirdness feeling because it's anything malicious. Maybe she's the key. Maybe she brings us the answer. Maybe she will give us insight about time and the clock she was looking at. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good episode.
Yep.
Suzuha's my favorite character. Do you have one?
Maori at the moment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I hope that I begin to truly understand
This?
Yes.
Me too. But part of me likes not understanding, you know?
I like trying to figure it out, discover it, unlock it, be a scientist.
Or a diet scientist.
Or a diet scientist.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And we hope to see you next time. I like when being aware of details pays off. I like when being aware of details pays off. I like when being aware of details pays off.
I like when being aware of details pays off.